Hello, hello friends. Welcome to my channel. So today we are going to discuss how to create user and assign a particular namespace. So if you are new to Kubernetes and you want to create a user, right, so that he can only have the access to a particular namespace. So you are at the right place. So let's continue. So I have created one Kubernetes cluster, okay, on Ubuntu. If you want to know how to create a Kubernetes cluster on Ubuntu, then maybe message me. Then I'll try to create a new video. Okay, but right now my cluster is ready, as you can see on the screen. So it's a 2-node cluster right now. I have shut down one of the nodes uh, so that it does not consume my CPU RAM. So we will work only on basically one node. Okay, so this is a Kubernetes cluster. I have put an alias of OC, so don't confuse. It's kubectl only. Okay, let me show you the alias. Okay, as you can see, I have given an alias of OC on kubectl. Okay, so it all depends. If you want, you can give any other alias. For me it's OC because I'm working on OpenShift as well, so it's easier for me to go through the command lines. Otherwise it becomes very confusing. Sometimes you run kubectl on the OpenShift, so it's easy one for me. Yeah, so as you can say, we have this many namespace. Okay, these are all the default namespace, and I have created one namespace developer here. So today we will be creating a DevOps user, and then we will assign the DevOps role, okay, to it. So basically we will create a basically we will create a namespace, and we will create a user of DevOps, and we will assign the DevOps namespace to this particular DevOps user. Okay, so that basically DevOps engineer will have full access under this namespace. So apart from this namespace, he can't access any other resources or namespaces in the cluster. Okay, so we will just bind this DevOps to his namespace only. So before creating that, first thing, how will the user log in, right? So first there will be a machine, right, jump server or something, where the user will actually log in, and from there he will start working on the cluster. So first thing, you need to create a local user. Okay, first we have to create a local user so that he can access to the cluster through that user, and then basically he can then log into the cluster. Okay, so we will bind to that particular basically we will move that kubeconfig file to that particular user so that he can access the cluster with specific configuration. Okay, so let me show you whether I have this DevOps user created or not. As you can see, I don't have this user created, so I will just create this user add DevOps. Okay, I need this sudo privilege. So this is my master account. Basically this is a root user kind of. Okay, I will change the password for DevOps. I will keep a simple password. Okay, this is updated successfully. Okay, now let's go to check again. Okay, looks like the permission, there is an issue. Okay, it is going to the shell prompt, not to the bash. Okay, let me change it. Vim. Okay, let's go to vim slash etc slash pass wd. What's happening? So pass wd control a. Okay. Okay, let me go to this. Okay, so if I do this now, seems okay, this is created, and if I go to cd/home, okay, I cannot go there. cd/home /devops cd/home. Let me see if the directory is created. Okay, this directory is not created. Okay, now we will have to create it because I forcefully made it to bash, right? So let me create it. DevOps. Okay, I need to use sudo. As you can see, DevOps folder is created, but this is owned by root, so I need to change the permission. Ch on DevOps, and then DevOps. Okay. Oh, sorry, typo mistake. Okay. Operation not permitted, so I'll have to use sudo. Okay, clear. If I do ll, I can see, yeah, the permission is granted. I will just give chmod 755 as well to this. Okay, as you can see, the folder is created now. Okay, so it seems fine. So now the user is created. Okay, let's try to log in with this DevOps user and see if it is working fine. Yeah, I can log in, so it seems working fine. Okay, so let's log out. So what we did now, we created a user, created a DevOps user, and assigned bash permission. Okay, so we have created a Linux user, basically, just to be specific, Linux DevOps user, and assign bash permissions. Okay, so now so we have a local user. Okay, from that user the DevOps engineer will log into the cluster, and then he will log into the cluster. Basically, he won't log in. Basically, I mean, we will map this user to force. We'll force to use the kube config, which will force him to access the cluster with the DevOps namespace only. Okay. So let's start. So basically, first thing we will have to create the key pairs. Okay, for this user, so that we can use this key pair in our CSR template. So CSR template is your certificate signing request. So basically, based on those keys, we will create a certificate, and then we will approve them, so that he can access the cluster. Okay. Then we will assign the cluster role and role bindings to map a particular namespace to this user. So let's start now. So let me clear this. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll just quickly create a folder so that it will be easy to clean for me. It's always a best practice to create a folder. Okay. I mean, it's a good way to maintain all the files and other things, even if you want to do cleanup, because this machine you are creating on VirtualBox, right? So I mean, there is a limit of resources on your PC. So I mean, as you can see right now, I have 15G available. So 50% is already used. So make sure that I mean, you create a folder. It's easy to manage. Okay. And this I mean, I guess I have already told you this Kubernetes cluster I have configured on the Ubuntu. So that is an open source. So you guys anybody can use it. So I have created the folder, guys. So let's start and create this certificate. Okay. As you can see now, I don't have anything in this folder. So I am creating a RSA certificate, and the out file name is DevOpsKey. And if you see now, the key is DevOpsKey is created. Okay. Now let me create a CSR file from that key. So if I do LL, you can see both my DevOps CSR and key are created. Okay. So that is the first step. We have created a key and we have created a CSR file. Okay. Now we will create a CSR template. Okay. So let's create this. So a file with the name CSR template will be created here. Let me go there up. Okay. Let's quickly go check this file. So you should see this, the kind is your certificate signing request. So it will send an CSR request in the Kubernetes cluster so that the admin he will approve it. Then basically he can access it. The user can access the cluster. Okay. Not access the cluster. Basically, this is a certificate signing request. So he will be being able to connect with the certificates. So as you can see, the name of this CSR template is DevOps CSR, and we have given the request base64 encoded CSR. So we'll change this value right now. I mean, so the signer name is Kubernetes. Okay. So because we are using default Kubernetes, so it will be the one who will sign this request. Okay, let's put this variable value to CSR content. So basically we have created this DevOps CSR, right? If I will show you. So this is a certificate under the CSR file. Okay. So we have to use this basically certificate inside our certificate signing request. Okay. But the thing is it should be in base64. So what I did, this command, it is doing a cat on this and it is converting it to base64. Okay. So and storing into this variable CSR content. Okay, if I do a echo for this parameter, you can see, if you see the values here, it is changed, right? So this is converted into base 64. Okay, I hope this is clear. So we have converted it, right? Now we have to basically add this value. If you see if you see the CSR template, right? CSR right now there is nothing, right? So we will add this under. So basically in this command we are changing this base 64 CSR with the value of this variable, right, that we defined earlier, and then we will move this file contents to our dev of CSR file, so that it will be easy to understand that basically we are creating for our DevOps engineer, right? So it will be easy to identify with this file name. So what we did, we changed under this file CSR template this base 64 content, and then we moved this contents of this file to another file. Okay, so now if you see, we have the, let me clear it, it will be easy to see now. So so there is another file is created, dev of CSR YAML. Okay, so let me show you the contents as well. Sorry, okay, control cat. So as you can see, the contents of the request is changed now. Okay, so this is all. So now what we did till now, we created keys and CSR file, then we created a CSR Kubernetes file based on .csr file. Okay, so these things we have completed till now. So now let's create this CSR file. Okay, if I say oc get CSR, right, and I check, there is no certificate signing request, right now we don't have any request pending. So let's oc apply. Just I'm telling you guys, this oc is nothing but this is an alias of kubectl. Okay, just don't get confused. I mean it's up to you, you can keep anything, right, as long as you keep alias settings. oc apply -f dev of CSR YAML. Okay, so this is created. If I do a oc get CSR, you can see that there is a CSR is created by the DevOps CSR with the name of DevOps CSR. Okay, and it is in pending state. So whenever a CSR is created, right, it needs to be approved by the admin so that the access is minimized, right? So now let's approve this CSR. Okay, so this is a command to approve the CSR. So this is approved. If I do again, you can see this is approved and issued. So now this DevOps CSR is approved. Okay, so you can access the cluster basically. So let's go to the next step. So now the next step is we will create a .crt file. Okay, so let's create this file. Earlier we don't have this file, right? So we have created a .crt file that will be used later on. Okay, so we again, we are getting this config of this CSR, and we are getting in form of JSON path. Then we are basically identifying using the JSON path this status and certificate value. So those values we are again basically decoding in to the base64 and saving it to this file. So basically it's the same thing that we did earlier, right? So we are getting, because these certificate values are different one, these are encoded ones, so we are just doing a decryption on base64 so that we can use it. Okay, so as I told you, we have created, right? So let's see the config queue, how you log in to the cluster, right? What is your config? It is visible in the config view, and as you can see, this is my cluster address. So I'll just copy this. These are the details. I mean, this is the default or user and name context. Okay, for me, so the same will be defined for the this DevOps user. We need to define all these things. Okay, so I will tell you why we did this info. So basically we will create a kubeconfig file for this DevOps user, and a kubeconfig file looks like this. So we will mention which cluster you want to log in, right? So the cluster server details should be there with the IP and the port number. So I mean, it will remain same, right? Because the cluster is same even for the DevOps engineer. So we'll use the same one. Only these things will change, right? This user and all. So we will create this now. Okay, so let's check the PKIs. So you can see there is a CSR file, so it's there. So this is the correct location. So now what we'll do, let me copy this. So we will now do this. Now we will set this config for this cluster. Okay, so what we are doing, we are setting the cluster configuration. This is the server name, certificate authority. We already checked this certificate, CA/CRT certificate is at this location, so we have given that part. Okay, so we have to embed the certificate. It is true, so it will look for the certificate. And then kubeconfig file, I'm giving the name DevOps. So I'm creating a DevOps kubeconfig file, so that we will map this kubeconfig file to that DevOps user, so that he will have only particular access to the namespace. Okay. Okay, if I see here, if you see, this file is created. Okay, with DevOps kubeconfig. If you want to see the content, we can see the contents. Okay, let me clear this. This is kind of messy. Yeah. Okay, right now these are null, but yeah, it will be fixed. Okay. So now we will set the credential. Okay, for this DevOps user. So basically we are setting this credential for this DevOps user. So for the credential we are giving the certificates. Okay, so if you remember, we created this DevOps CRT file, right? When we encoded the base64, decoded the base64, right? And then we are giving this key. This key also we earlier created, right, from the starting. And this is a kubeconfig file. Okay, so basically we are not assigning any password, right? So the whole access will be going through the certificate files, and this certificate, those are already approved by the admin. through a CSR, certificate signing request. So it will be a legitimate request. Okay. So we have set this credential. Now we will set the context. Okay. So now we are setting the context basically for this DevOps user. So he will be working under this DevOps context only. Okay. So I need to change. Okay. It should not be default. We won't give the default namespace access to him. Okay. So we will give DevOps. I don't want him to give the whole cluster access, right? I will give him particular DevOps. Okay. But if I see the namespace, I don't have any namespace with DevOps. Okay. So I have to create a namespace as well. OC create namespace DevOps. Okay. So I have created a namespace as well, so that it will be mapped to this namespace. Okay, as you can see, this is the DevOps namespace that I just created. So we have set the credential. Okay, so how the password will work, so it will go through the certificate. We have set the context so that he will work on under only this context. Now we have to use this config file, right? So basically I'm telling him to use this context. Okay, DevOps context under this DevOps kube config file. Okay. So if you see now, let me clear this. It is, no, I think it should fine. Otherwise it will be messy. So if you see now, all the changes that we did, right? So you can see we changed the namespace, right? So it should access DevOps only. User should be DevOps. And the context it will be using is DevOps context, right? All these things changed. Sorry guys. Let's clear it. So till now, what we did, created DevOps namespace. Okay, assigned namespace and context to DevOps user, and created credentials for DevOps user. Okay, just don't confuse, these credentials are not the Linux credentials. Okay, these are Kubernetes credential. So both are different thing. So just don't confuse. Sorry. Okay. So we have said this. Now let's verify this if this kube config is working, right? So guys, let's verify this config whether it is working or not. Let's see. This is the command. So we are getting kubectl get ports, right, and we are using this DevOps kube config file. So let's see. Okay, there is an error. Could not get current service API list get HTTP. Okay. As you can see, there is a mistake in our file, right? There are two HTTPSs. So let me just fix this. So this is a typo mistake. Okay, now this is the correct URL. Okay, so if I do this, yeah, now this is the right. Okay, so we have created the user, right? We have configured the CSR as well. We have created the kube config file. now even then it is showing me an error that it is forbidden. Okay, so pod is forbidden for this user. Okay, so I cannot list this pod for DevOps. Okay, DevOps user in the namespace DevOps. So because we have given the DevOps namespace, right? So I don't have the authority. So this is another level of security in the Kubernetes. So even after that, you get all this CSR, right? Kubectl configured, you cannot access because there is a concept called RBAC, role based access control. So that needs to be defined for this particular user. Otherwise, I won't be able to access the cluster. Okay. So by default, everything is blocked, you can say. So specifically, it needs to be allowed. Okay. So I'll have to create a cluster role binding for this user. So let's create a YAML file. So we have created a DevOps cluster role. Okay. Why we are creating a cluster role? Because we want to give him the whole access of his namespace, right? So that he can do whatever he wants. So we are creating a cluster role. This is the name of the cluster role, and we are giving the full access for his namespace. So these are the resources, all the resources, everything is allowed for under his namespace. So he will be the you can say admin for this particular namespace. Okay, and it should be like that only, right? I mean, the user should be able to do anything in his namespace, configure and do anything. I mean, but he should not do anything outside of the cluster, right? So now we have created a role. After the role is created, we need to create a role binding as well. So let's create a role binding. Let me clear this. Okay, so we are creating a role binding as well. Okay, as you can see, the current is role binding. This is the name of the binding. Okay, I need to change this default because we are defining which namespace it will be accessing, right? So I need to change this. This is default. This should be not default, right? I want to give him access to the DevOps, right? So, and this is a cluster role. Where it will take the cluster role for the permission, and then this is the name of the cluster role that we defined, right? So let me save this file. Let me change it here as well so that I don't. Instead of default, it should be DevOps. I want to give him access for the DevOps user. Okay. So both these files are created, as you can see. So now I'll create this with a single command. So I'll create this role and role binding. Okay. So this is created. Okay. OC, if I do a OC get cluster role and grep for DevOps, you can see the role is created. And if I do a role binding, yeah, so this role is created under basically developer namespace, right? So sorry, DevOps. You can see this is created, right? So basically cluster role is your cluster scoped, and this role binding is for the namespace based. So both we have created, right? So we did created we created cluster role and role binding for DevOps namespace. Okay, So now as we have created, right, this DevOps and this cluster role and cluster load binding, now we should be able to access the pods. Okay, so earlier we were getting forbidden error, right? Now we should not get that error. So you can see now the error is changed, no resource found in DevOps namespace. So it shows there is no pod to show right now, okay, under this namespace. So by default it is taking the DevOps namespace because we have defined in the kubeconfig file, right? And we also defined in the role binding. So now this is working fine, right? So now let's see if I have the access to other namespaces as well, right? Because we allowed only the DevOps namespace, right? So let's verify this. So I'll be doing kubectl get pods, but I will be checking for all the namespaces. Okay, so as you can see, pod is forbidden. Okay, so I cannot list the pods for this user at the cluster scope. Okay, so this is banned. So I'm only allowed to list the DevOps namespace. So it verifies the theory, right? So now from the admin point of view, we did everything. Okay, now the only thing we need to do is to move this kubeconfig file to the user home directory so that he can use it, right? Once he do SSH to the machine, then he should be able to use this kubeconfig file to log in the cluster. So let me just copy paste. So I will do /home /devops / okay, I will do a sudo. So I'm just copying this DevOps file there. Okay, so if I do a ll, I can see the file. Okay, so the kubeconfig file is there, as you can see. So it is now having the root permission. So I'll change this permission so that it is for DevOps user. Should be able to use, otherwise he will get permission denied error. Okay, so it should be fine now. Clear. Okay, so yeah, now it seems to be fine. Okay, now the next thing is to log into the cluster. Basically log into the node first of all with the user. What we created, DevOps. So as you can see, I'm logged in with the DevOps user. Now if I do oc get pods, okay, the problem is I just created this user, right? So this command line is not installed. So I need to install this kubectl, okay, -y. Sudo rs kubectl. Could not open the log file. Frontend permission enabled to frontend log. Are you root? Okay, I forgot one thing. You need to give the sudo privilege to this DevOps user, because why we need that? Because this user is newly created, right? So this kubectl binary won't be there, so he won't be able to run the kubectl commands. To install that, he should have the sudo privilege. So I'll just quickly give the sudo privilege. Okay. Okay. This is assigned. Okay. Okay. So sudo privilege is given. So now let's log in on this user DevOps. Okay, so we have logged in with the DevOps users. Now let's install the kubectl. Before installing, let me show you this command won't work. Okay, kubectl get ports, because the binary is not there. Okay, okay, let me see. Ll cat devops config file. Yeah, it's there, everything fine. Yeah, okay, let's me install this first. DevOps 1234. Okay, this is installed. kubectl get ports. Could not get current server API style TCP connection refused. Why? Connection refused. Why it is taking localhost? Why it is taking localhost? It should it's not taking the cluster. Kubectl config view. Let's see the what is the kubectl config. Okay, so okay, it is taking the default kubectl config. Okay, okay, so I'll have to fix this. Okay. Let's see if I have the folder. Cube.cube folder is not there. Okay, it's not there. So let me create this folder first. So the problem is it is not created. Okay, I'll have to create this folder. .cube. So a .cube folder should be there. Okay. Now let me copy this cp devops config.cube. If I see, yeah, ll command is not installed, so that's why. ls-lrth devops clear. Kubectl config view. It is still null. Okay. cd slash etc. Let's check what's there. Slash etc slash Kubernetes admin. Cat admin.conf. Okay, I don't have the permissions. Sudo cat. Okay, this is my admin conf file, right? Okay. cd slash cd.cube lscp devops and then config. Yeah, it should be config, right? Kubectl config view. Yeah, now it is taking. Okay, so sorry guys, what I did, I copied the file name should be config, not DevOps kube config, right? So I just changed the file name, then it started working, right? So I'll just remove this, it's not needed. Okay, so I'll do a cd. Now if you see kubectl config view, it is taking the correct permission, right? But it's taking the correct cluster name, and the namespace is DevOps, user is DevOps, context is this. So it looks fine. Okay, now it should be able to run the command. So as it clearly shows, right, no resources are found because we didn't create anything. So let's try to quickly create a simple pod run ngx hyphen image nginx. Oh, sorry, I haven't created the alias here, right? So that's why it is giving me error. Pod is created, kubectl get pods. Yeah, as you can see, this is running. So guys, we have successfully deployed the pod here. So I'll just brief what we did. So we created a Linux user first because that will be the user he will be accessing with his own user ID, right? First he needs to access the physical machine, whether it is a jump server or any machine, right? From there he can access the cluster. So first the user needs a local user. So we have created a Linux DevOps user, okay, and then we assigned him the bash permission and all this sudo privilege, right, so that he can install the kubectl binaries. Then we created the key and CSR file for this particular user so that a CSR request can be created. CSR is your certificate signing request. So this is Linux user creation. Now we will creating the user to access the Kubernetes cluster. Okay, so for that the user will be accessing the Kubernetes cluster based on the certificate. So we are creating the certificates and we are raising a CSR request. So after that CSR request needs to be approved. Okay, then we created a DevOps namespace because we will allow this DevOps user to only work in this namespace only. Okay, and then we assign this namespace and context to this user, right, and created credential, basically credential, not actual credential. We created the credential. It will be a passwordless access based on the certificate. Then after that what we did to allow this particular user to access a particular namespace, right, to list the resources, a cluster role and role binding needs to be there. So we created a cluster role and role binding for this namespace. So we have given the full access to this user under his own namespace, under the cluster role. And after that what we did, we just verified with a command whether this kubeconfig file is working or not. Okay, I forgot to tell you, then we also created the kubeconfig file, right, where we defined all these parameters. Then we check whether this user is able to access the resources or not with his kubeconfig file. Then we moved this kubeconfig file to his home directory, and then we logged in via the Linux DevOps user, and we installed this kubectl binary because it was now by default it's not there, so we have to install it. And then we try to list the resources, but yeah, we face the issue because the kubeconfig file we need to create a .kube folder, okay, under the home directory, and there we need to create a config file. Okay, so after that we were able to list the nodes, pods basically. But there are no pods, so we created a test pod nginx, and we can test anything, right? I mean, let's see if I can get network poll, kubectl. Let's see if I have the access. Okay, I have the access of network policy as well, because we have defined all the resources should be accessible, right? So if I do get all, okay, sorry, my bad, kubectl get all. So there are no resources, right? Only pod is created right now. And if I do a kubectl get all under -a, so you can see I don't have the access, right, to list any other namespaces. So I can access my own namespace. Okay, so if I do get all, yeah, I think that should be all. Let's see on which node it is setting. It is now setting on the master node, because right now we have only one node. Okay, so yeah guys, thanks for watching this video. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you in another video. Thanks. Bye.